All right. Hello. Thank you for joining us for this live Q&A session. We're going to dive right in, but I just want to give a little intro to who I am, who my guest is tonight, and then tell you a little bit about what's going on. So if we haven't met before, hey, I'm Lindsay. I'm the founder of Full Bloom Makers Wellness, and I'm a virtual holistic nutritionist and health coach specializing in gut health for busy women over 40. What does that mean? Well, basically, I'm the one you hire if you want to lose weight, fix embarrassing digestive issues, and balance your hormones without adding more to your to-do list. I'm so glad that you are joining us tonight or this evening, depending on where you are, for this Q&A session. We're going to have a little bit of fun, learn a little bit, and hopefully leave with a better understanding just about fitness and wellness in general. So a few housekeeping items. I'll be sending out this recording tomorrow, so you'll have that available to watch for a couple days. And I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. So this is purely for educational goodness and to enrich your fitness and wellness journey. So here is my guest tonight. We have Molly. I'm so excited she's joining us. You might recognize her. Molly's been in the group a few times in my community. I've been in hers a few times. She's kind of a rock star over here. And she is going to just blow your mind with lots and lots of amazing fitness and wellness stuff tonight. So, little intro about Molly. She's the founder of MFit Workouts. She's been an online fitness coach for 10 years. Molly experienced chronic stress and anxiety for most of her life, but about 6 years ago, that chronic stress took over every aspect of her life. She was 30 pounds heavier, having daily panic attacks, finding it impossible to sleep, experiencing severe bloating, and feeling completely consumed by her daily stress. It felt like she had no control over her body or mind. I bet you can relate to that. It was through hitting rock bottom that she discovered the workouts she was doing were causing her body to produce too much cortisol, which made her stress skyrocket. There we go. And her body cling to body fat. So once she realized that, she wanted to develop something so that no one else would ever have to experience this again. So Molly can't wait to share with you her strategies and just her amazing, amazing knowledge about fitness and wellness. So you can connect with Molly on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and her website. Those will all be linked up in the email when I send out the replay. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Molly to give a brief introduction, then we'll jump right into the questions.
Yeah, thank you. It's always so funny hearing like your story said in front of you. I'm like, yeah, I did go through all that. But
It's
thanks
a
for having
journey.
It is a journey. Yes. But thanks for having me. I'm excited to answer your guys' questions today. As you said, I'm the founder of MFit Workouts, which is an online fitness platform where we do both workouts and lifestyle coaching. So I really work with a lot of women who are dealing with chronic stress or hormonal imbalances, and those two things usually feed each other. And I'm really passionate about that because I went through my own mess of stress and hormones and all of the things myself. So now I really help people learn how to program their workouts and what habits to build so that they can really make sure they're being gentle enough with their body so that their body can change in the way they want to. Because a lot of times people don't realize that if you are stressing your body out with really intense workout routine or a really intense diet, that's going to stress you out and your body's not going to change because it's stressed. So we really make sure people are feeling balanced and like optimized for fat burning. That is what I really try to focus on with my clients. So yeah, I'm excited to answer questions tonight.
Love that. So, stress, if you're stressed, Molly's your girl. She'll teach you how to do all those wonderful things because we know we talk a lot about stress around here. And that can be, sabotaging your weight loss efforts for sure and your health efforts. So,
Absolutely. And that stress usually makes hormonal imbalances worse and gut issues worse, which obviously we both kind of talk about hormonal issues and you talk a lot about gut. And if you're stressed, all of that's going to be worse. So it's an important thing to understand.
so basically stress doesn't help anything, really.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, except for that like little bit of stress where it like gives you that adrenaline to go,
Yeah.
but chronic stress, no bueno.
Right, right. It just whenever we list those things off, it's like, okay, well, what is it good for? Like it's just not. It's part of who we are. It keeps us safe, but it's there for a reason. But
Yeah.
we need to
But the
deal with it.
chronic state of stress, not ideal.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Okay, cool. So let's dive right in. Our first question, kind of your classic workout question here. So, how much time do I really need to spend working out in order to lose weight?
Yeah, so this is less than what most people probably think. I always like to like I always think of this when I'm asked this question. Like, as children, we had like PE class or physical education for an hour every single day. So I think we're kind of primed to think that we should be exercising for an hour at least 5 days a week because that's what we grew up knowing and what we were kind of taught in school. But that's actually too much for most people. Because if you're working out too much, you can stress out your body. Exercise is a stressor. So, what I really encourage people to do is really just focus on 3 to 5 days a week, 30 minutes max. You really don't need to be doing more than that. And if you are someone who is trying to lose weight, obviously it's kind of different for everyone. Like, we're all unique individuals. But that general rule of thumb of 3 to 5 days a week, half an hour, is really good for most people. And it's also important to remember that consistency is what's more important. So if you're trying to work out 5 days a week and you're not, that's not helpful. So if you can be consistent with 1 day a week and you can do that regularly, then start there. If you can be consistent with 2 days a week, start there. Trying to do more and failing is going to make you less successful in your weight loss. So try to do less more consistently. I would say that. And then just always remembering more isn't necessarily better. Because I know how my brain works and how most people's brains work. If they're trying to lose weight and they're not being successful, they usually think, oh, I need to do a lot more then. I need to push myself harder. But that can then stress out your body. Stress is going to be like a recurrent theme here, but it will stress out your body and then make it harder for you to lose weight. So it's really comes down to the exercise choice, how you're balancing your exercise routine throughout the week, and then being consistent with it. But as a rule of thumb, if we're looking for how much time, I would say that 3 to 5 days a week, 30-minute mark, with a mix of strength training and some low impact cardio is a good base point for most people. And start with less, get consistent with that, and then maybe try to build to that 4 or 5 days. That would be my advice.
I love that. And I love that you said consistency. Consistency is king, really, queen
Yeah,
with everything we
yeah,
do.
yeah,
And
for
that
sure.
just we don't
If
need to be, yeah, like we don't need to keep adding more and more. That more mindset, more is better is so outdated.
Yeah. And if you're trying to do too much, that may like feel overwhelming to you, and that overwhelming nature of it may kind of turn you off to exercise as a whole. If you're like, oh, well, I don't have time to do all of this, so I can do none
Mhm.
of it. That's a really bad mindset to have, and a mindset a lot of people do have. They think, well, I can't do what I think I need to do, so I'm going to do nothing. But
Yes.
really, even if all you can do is like 5, 10 minutes a couple days a week, that's a really good place to start. Just get consistent with whatever you're doing. And if you're having trouble being consistent with it, it's probably too much, at least for you right now. So that's
Mhm.
actually a lot of people say like consistency is their problem, being motivated to work out every day is their problem. But if you're not being consistent or motivated with what you're doing, you're trying to do too much. So instantly try to dial it back some. And then as you get consistent, that weight will start to come off. Because you may be hearing me say that and thinking, well, a 10-minute workout 2 days a week isn't going to help me lose weight, and it probably won't. But if you can get consistent with that, you can then build to something that will then help you. And it
Yeah,
might. It might already help you start losing weight if you can just stick to 10-minute workouts a couple days a week. That may be enough to kickstart that for you.
I love that. That brings up another question I get asked frequently is about, I can't even if we're doing 30-minute workouts, I can't do a full 30-minute workout, but I could do two 15-minute workouts like before work and after work.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on kind of splitting it up, or does it really need to be in one chunk?
it doesn't need to be in one chunk. Certain workouts maybe are more beneficial in one chunk. But you can really separate things. I think something that works for a lot of people is separating like, okay, I'm gonna do like 15 minutes like of some arm and leg exercises, and then I'm gonna go for like a 15-minute power walk or some sort of low impact cardio for 15 minutes. Splitting it up that way is really good. Obviously, if you're um, someone who's trying to build endurance, you want to do the 30 minutes straight. If you're someone who is trying to build up to heavier weights, you're going to want to do it for 30 minutes straight. But a majority of people can and will find a lot of benefit in splitting it up that way. So that's totally fine. And I think that's actually a really amazing way to start if that feels like a good place for you to start, if that feels more approachable.
Well, and I would imagine that's better than doing nothing, like you
Yes.
said, right? So right there, you're
Yeah.
already, 15 minutes is better than zero.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Even if you are splitting up like to 5 minutes and 5 minutes, even if you're like splitting it up
mm,
into really small increments, that's still really good. And I know one of the questions you had sent me before was like, I forget what it was, but I know I was going to touch on this later. But being active throughout your day is also a really important thing. So if you can split up your workouts, that's instantly already making you more active regularly throughout the day. So you're going to find benefit in that as well. Um, because it's not super beneficial actually to do a 30-minute workout and then sit and not move for the remaining 23 and a half hours of the day. You want to spread apart some of that movement, and if one of the ways that you can do that is by just doing bite-sized little workouts, I find that's really good for new mothers as well, like really bite-sized workouts in between like nap times, meal times, all of that stuff. Um, that's very effective for a lot of people. So it's really like with all of the advice I give, there's ways to personalize this to make it really work for you. Some people may be overwhelmed with the concept of trying to fit multiple things into their day. So if that idea of splitting up your workout overwhelms you, then just again, try to start with however much time you have and being consistent with that much time. Um, and then slowly building on that.
I love that. It has to work for you.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you won't do it, right? We all know
Exactly.
that. We've all been there. Okay,
Exactly.
cool. Um, so hopefully that answers that question. That's a great, great answer. So number two, I heard strength training is key for weight loss and staying healthy as we age. How much cardio should I be doing if I lift weights 3 times a week?
Okay, so this is where I was going to add that note before. This is literally a question I was talking about. As far as cardio goes, if you're lifting 3 days a week, I would first prioritize daily movement. So before you're trying to think about what extra workout can I add in that's going to be cardio focused, I would really focus on getting 5 to 10,000 steps a day. Like those numbers are kind of like the 10,000 steps a day is not really like the magic number of all numbers, but like in general, 5 to 10,000 steps a day means you're probably moving regularly throughout the day. So I would prioritize that first. Like, how active are you? How much are you moving around in your day to day life? And if you already are quite active, then I would say mixing in 1 to 2 days of some low impact cardio would then be a good next step for you. And that can be things like walking, swimming, cycling, or doing some low impact aerobics. But what you don't need to be doing, especially since I know you work with a lot of women who have gut issues and hormonal imbalances, are in perimenopause, you don't need to be doing high intensity cardio. So a lot of people think cardio and they think this needs to leave me like feeling gassed and winded and like I can't catch my breath. That's probably actually not the best cardio for you to mix in. So I would really focus on mixing in something that's low impact, so not a lot of jumping and pounding on the floor, and not something that's super high intensity that's going to leave you feeling dead afterwards. But so to answer that question, start by prioritizing daily movement. And again, if you track your steps, maybe you're aiming for like 5 to 10,000 a day. If you track your steps once and you're like, I'm walking like 1,000 steps a day, then just try to slowly increase that. You don't need to go from 1,000 to 10,000. Just increase that by like 500 steps a day and increase that like every like halfway through the week or every week, increase it a bit. But focus on that daily movement first and then start to mix in 1 or 2 days of that low impact cardio. I would like my workout routine right now, for example, I do 3 days of strength training, 1 day of yoga, 1 day of cardio, and then I walk throughout the day. So I'm really not doing a ton of cardio,
Yeah.
um, but I am trying to be active all throughout the day, which is, good for that cardio if you're moving around regularly. But mixing in 1 to 2 days is plenty. A lot of people think they need daily cardio, and you don't necessarily.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I see a lot of women too that I work with that are just the thought of doing an hour-long cardio session is
Yeah.
like
And
not gonna happen.
yeah, and cardio, that brings up a good question that I didn't actually answer. How long should the cardio be? It also doesn't need to be that long. Like on my website, I have 5, 10, and 15-minute cardio workouts, and that's usually the most that I have like a low impact aerobic workout go for. You could walk for 30 minutes. Like it doesn't need to be an hour long. Um, I think that that's also kind of like a number that we all think we need to hit, but you could do shorter doses of cardio. That's actually a really good place to like split up your workout some, to be like, okay, I'm gonna do like a quick 10-minute little cardio thing at lunchtime or whenever you have time, just to get the heart rate up some and to strengthen your heart. But you don't need to do long cardio sessions. And also, you can make your strength workouts a little bit cardio based as well. Like it's good to mix in those really slow strength workouts where you're not feeling your heart rate get up a bunch, but you can also kind of get two in one by being like, okay, I'm going to do a leg exercise and then I'm going to do a shoulder exercise, and you're going to go back and forth like that, and your blood flow is going to be going to the top of your body, to the lower body. It's going to keep moving like that, so it's going to feel like a bit of cardio. So if the idea of adding an extra workout that's cardio based to your routine seems like you can't fit that in right now, one, I would challenge you and say you probably have 5 minutes where you could do a 5 minute cardio routine. But two, you could switch up what your strength workout is so that it feels like a touch of cardio. Um, like my fitness background is so many different things. Like I grew up a dancer and a gymnast. I did the heavy weightlifting. I did boxing. I was a cycle instructor. I was a power yoga instructor. I was a yoga sculpt instructor. I've done a bunch of things, and now I kind of fuse it all together because I get kind of bored if I'm doing a really basic workout. So my
Mhm.
workouts a lot of the time do blend several things where you're getting like deep stretching, major strengthening, and some cardio in all of your workouts. So that's another way you could introduce that cardio routine is by doing a workout that kind of fuses things together, which
I
is
love
totally
that.
fine to do. I think a lot of people hear and see online fitness advice from bodybuilders,
Mhm.
and bodybuilders need to separate their strength and cardio because they're looking for something super, super specific. Like they need to be eating super specific, they need to be lifting super specific, they need to be doing super specific cardio. But us regular humans do not need to be doing that. So the idea of that you need to split those two and that your strength workout should only look like this is a total myth that is very fed into by the bodybuilders and gym bros online. So they don't need to be split. And if the idea of like mixing an extra workout in because you need to do cardio now is too much, just change up your strength a bit. Does that answer that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I I think that's so true with just a lot of what we see on social media is geared towards the bodybuilders, the who compete in these competitions where it is about muscles and it is about symmetry and all that. I've actually coached a couple bodybuilders, professional bodybuilders, and it was insane just like the what they needed to eat, like developing an eating plan for that
Yeah.
because it's so specific and then hearing about their workouts.
Mhm.
That's not most of us.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people may be like, but I kind of want to look like the bodybuilders. Like
Right.
that's still like a dream they have. And I will say I don't train bodybuilders anymore. I did a few in the past. It wasn't really my favorite way of training, but the people I train now, you can get flat abs, you can get
Hmm.
toned, you can get fit in a way without having to work out and like live your life in that bodybuilder way. Um, so if you want those goals, one, it's remember that they have those results for a day. Like it's,
Yeah.
I used to follow so many bodybuilders and like I definitely support everything they're doing. Like
Oh,
you do
yeah.
you, but also I'd be like, okay, you get so fit for a certain amount of time and then like check in with them during their off seasons and it's probably not how most
Hmm.
people want to look, to be fair.
Hmm.
Like in kindness. Um,
Oh, yeah.
like it
Yeah.
flips in extremes, and a lot of female bodybuilders have problems with their gut and with their anxiety and with their hormones and
Hmm.
all of that stuff. So just know you can look good without training in the bodybuilder way. You may not look like how they look on stage, all greased up with the lights and all the things, but you can
I
still
mean, if you want, you could grease
you
it up yourself, I guess.
You can be like, look, I'm gonna have my own bikini photo shoot, and you can go to town and you can have a good time.
Sure. You do
Um,
you.
but yeah, like having that knowledge of, like we were talking about cardio and strength is how we got here.
Hmm.
A lot of people think they need to be split because that is where they got that information.
Hmm.
And for most people, they don't need to necessarily be split in that way. So you can also fuse together your cardio and strength a bit, but still include some of those slower non-cardio strength workouts. That's still important too. But it's okay to like, if you're doing strength training 3 days a week, make one of them kind of a hybrid. And then you actually don't need to introduce a cardio workout to your routine yet if you don't have the time or the patience or the want to do that. Um, so yeah, I guess I gave kind of like multiple tiers to that answer. Like first, just
Yeah.
focus on daily movement. Second, if you want to add in 1 or 2 days, do that. Or if you don't have time for the 1 or 2 days, switch up your strength workouts a bit because they can have more cardio in them.
I love that. What I
Yeah.
hear you really saying is it's customized, right? Everyone is a little bit different, and what works for you might not work for me and might not work for someone watching. And
Completely. And like a lot of this is one of my pet peeves with the fitness world as a whole, is
mhm,
a lot of what you see online is like a cookie cutter workout program where it's like everyone
yes,
follow this and everyone get these results. But then a lot of people do those and don't get the results and think something's wrong with them. But that's because it wasn't personalized to
right.
them. So that's something I really try to make happen in all of my programs, even if I'm not working with someone one on one. I always like to speak to everyone so that I can give them a touch of personalization because it's necessary because
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways you can work out.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that is one of the things that I really like about you and your philosophy. So I'm really glad that you're talking a lot about that. And it's just, customized nutrition, customized workouts. Like that's the name of the game here.
Yeah,
So perfect answer. I love that three-tiered approach. Okay, this next one I think is really good. You're gonna like this one. Why do I feel so tired after I work out?
that is a fun question. And there are multiple reasons you could feel tired after your workout. I will say that first and foremost. But if you are feeling completely exhausted after your workout, that tells me you're probably not doing the right workout or something else is off. So, first, I would say think about your sleep. Have you been sleeping well? Think about your nutrition. How has that been? Like, are you under eating and that's affecting your energy? How has your stress been? Have you been feeling really stressed? That can affect how you feel during and after your workout. So I would think about those things. I always think it's really helpful for people to keep track of multiple things. And that's like keep track of your stress and anxiety, keep track of your sleep, and your nutrition to some degree. You can track certain things like your poop. Like you can track a lot of things. But it's good to know like why am I feeling tired after my workout? If that's something you're asking every single day, I will answer your question in just a second. If that's something you're feeling sometimes, that's where it can be nice to have a little journal where you're like, why am I feeling tired today? And you're like, oh, well, it's because I'm on this stage of my cycle and because I slept poorly 2 nights ago. Like you can kind of look and see why you actually feel tired. There may be an answer. Um, but if you're feeling tired every single time after your workout and it kind of seems like there's not a pattern to it, you're just always feeling tired, that tells me you're either working out at too high of an intensity for what your body wants. It means you're working out in a way your body doesn't want right now.
Mhm.
Either it's too intense for your current stress levels, or it's too long for your current stress levels. Um, because if you're already stressed, exercise is a stressor. So I'll explain this in like non-exercise terms. Like say you are really stressed at home and then you go to work and something stressful lands on your plate and it's like your breaking point. You're like, I
Mhm.
can't handle this anymore. The stress has completely consumed me. I need to go in the bathroom and cry. Like your body's kind of doing that with exercise. So if you're already super stressed and you're doing a really intense or a really long workout, it's kind of like your body's breaking point where it's like, now I'm exhausted. Now I feel done. Like I can't do this anymore. So then after your workout, you're feeling completely drained because you've kind of pushed past that tipping point and it's not going in the bathroom to cry. It's, I need a nap now,
Mhm.
right now. Your body's just responding to that stress in a different way. So if you're feeling really tired, my advice for you would be, could you shorten your workout? Could you dial down the intensity a bit and then see if you feel more energized at the end of the workout? Because if you have hormonal imbalances you're trying to sort out, if you're trying to reduce the stress in your life, then you should feel energized after every workout you do. And if you don't, then you probably want to reprogram that workout. I also think it's really important to adjust your workouts basically every day. And that
Mhm.
may sound kind of crazy, but a lot of people will think like, this is my workout routine, this is what I follow, I cannot branch off of this. But if you wake up one day and you're like, I slept really bad, I'm really tired, or if you wake up one your day and you're like, I feel really anxious today, then you should be doing a different workout. You should be choosing some other workout to do. It shouldn't be like, oh man, I feel really tired, guess I need to go for my run that I was going to do this morning. Or, oh man, I feel really anxious. Well, I'm still going to go to the gym and lift as heavy as I possibly can. Like pushing yourself to an intensity when you don't feel good is actually making the problem of why ever you don't feel good worse. Um, so that was kind of a bunch of rambly thoughts. Let me put it into like clear bullet points for you guys.
No, that was good.
Okay, okay. I was like, I'm kind of all over the place with this, but I guess the three bullet points for this one is if you're feeling tired after all of your workouts, um, go through the list. How did I sleep? How's my anxiety? How has my stress been? How has my food been? And if those things are off, maybe work to optimize those things. If you're like, I just feel really tired and I don't know why, I would say stress is probably why. And you're going to want to adjust your workouts to match your stress a bit more. And then also like talk to yourself every morning or when before every workout you do and like, how am I feeling right now? And if you're like, I feel like trash, then make your workout support that trash feeling. I'm actually creating this like little starter workout program right now where it teaches you kind of how to do that. Where it's like feeling really tired, choose one of these workouts. Feeling really energized, do one of these. Feeling really anxious, do something here. Because you need to learn how to adjust for how you're feeling and not just push through. Yeah.
I love
But
that.
if you're tired, that's a sign to me that something is definitely off because you shouldn't feel really tired. And something could be off with multiple things. But one way you can quickly see if it's like a workout that's the problem is switch up the workout you're doing. Like shorten it, make it less intense. See if you feel more energized.
That seems so simple, like common sense, but I know I don't think that way. But that's why I'm so glad you're talking about it. And, the starter workout program, we were talking a little bit about it yesterday. It sounds absolutely amazing
Yeah.
and will solve that problem because
Yeah.
we don't naturally think that way. Like, oh, I should just shorten it. That seems so like a no-brainer, but it's ingrained in us from the time we were little, got to work out for 60 minutes, got to be, busting it for 60 minutes.
And to be fair, and this isn't everyone in the fitness space, but a lot of fitness professionals also don't think about that. They'll just be like, you're going to do
Yeah.
this workout. And then
Yeah.
they're not necessarily being like, oh, you feel this way? Okay, I need to switch up this workout. I don't get mad at my clients, but I'm always like, when they tell me like on a Friday, like, oh man, I was really stressed and anxious this week. Like it was a bad week. I'm like, why didn't you tell me on Monday? I would have given you a
Yeah.
totally different workout schedule to do, because you should be adjusting based on how you feel. And a lot of people don't think about that because no one really talks about it. Even most fitness professionals don't talk about it because I would say it's probably not that many that really like pay attention to that,
Yeah.
especially online, because again, it's a lot of like cookie cutter stuff where it's like you're going to do this no matter how you feel. But um, if you're going against what your body needs, your body's not going to give you the results that you want. So I know sometimes I say this to people where it's like, you should dial it back if you're not feeling so good. And they're like, but I want to lose weight. And I'm like, yeah, but if you're pushing through not feeling good, you're stressing out your body, then your body's going to cling to body fat. Your metabolism is going to slow down because your body thinks you're in survival mode because you're moving in a stressed out state. Um, so it's really hurting you more than it's helping you. Like it's more beneficial for you to dial it back than for you to push through because you think I just need to burn these calories. Um, so it is very helpful to listen to your body.
What about if you are sick? Should you
Okay.
still try to go to the
Okay.
gym? What would you do?
My rule of thumb for sickness is if the symptoms are above the neck, you can move if you're feeling good enough to. Like if you have a drizzly nose and a cough, like usually those things linger for a while. And usually you actually may feel a bit better if you move your body some. If the symptoms are below your neck, so if you're having like stomach problems, if you have a fever, if you have chills, um, that kind of idea of stuff, then don't work out. Give your body that rest. If you have a fever, do not work out ever. Um, that's going to raise your body temperature
Yeah.
more and that's going to make it harder for you to heal. I think most of us know that. But my rule of thumb, if symptoms are above the neck, you can probably move. But you probably want to move in a lighter way than you would
Hmm.
normally. So when I'm working with a client and they're sick, but they're like okay enough to exercise. The first thing I'll probably have them do after they have been sick and taken a couple of days off, like, because usually when you're sick, it starts off, you're like, I have a fever, I feel really bad everywhere. So you take a day or two off. And then after that, I say, like, okay, let's do like some standing core work and some light stretching. Um, and if like while they're doing that, they feel fine, then it's like, okay, you can do a few more movements too. Um, and then just like gradually building back up your workouts after an illness. But if the symptoms are above the neck, you can start moving.
That's a really good kind of rule of thumb.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I think that can so easily be an excuse too, that people are just like, well, have a little tickle. I'm not going to the gym today. And
Yeah.
but that can be said for anything, right? There's a million excuses in the world. So,
And that's also like, you know your body, you know yourself. So if it's
hmm.
like, okay, yeah, it is just above the neck, but I don't feel good. Like you can take the day off if you need
Right.
to. This isn't me saying like if you have like a drippy nose, if you're
Yeah.
kind of stuffy, you gotta work out. That's not me saying that, but I'm saying you can, like you have permission
Yeah.
to. Um, but another thing like with that, and this is kind of just like a side tangent, a lot of people will be like, I can't breathe very well through my nose,
Mm.
and they think I can't work out because of that. And it is uncomfortable to exercise when you're stuffy. But um, I encourage then clients to like breathe like they're breathing through a straw, like since
Mm.
you don't have your nose, which usually slows down your breathing while you're working
Hmm.
out. Um, if you are trying to work out and you have the sniffles, like that can be a good way to breathe and still move. But a lot of times, like people will say if they have some of that lingering stuffiness after a cold, like sweating some can feel good. It can kind of
Hmm.
help you feel more clear. Um, but as I said before, of like if you're finishing a workout feeling extremely tired, if you work out when you have a cold and you end feeling like I feel worse, or if in the middle of the workout you're like I feel worse, then just stop and move on. You don't have to do it. Like listen to your body during the workout too. Um, there's one thing that I encourage my clients to do, but I think none of them really do this, but I always call it like the 5 minute test or like the 10 minute test. Like if you start moving for 5 or 10 minutes and you're just like, I feel horrible, just stop working out. Just be like, I tried. Done. We're not doing this today.
Yeah.
Like, give yourself that test. I do that with myself sometimes. Like, if I'm not feeling the best for any reason and I'm like, I could technically work out, let's see. I'll just like go through my warm up. And if I'm like, I feel worse, like so much worse, then I'll be like, I'm going to stop. So listen to your
Mhm.
body during, before, during, and after the workout.
Yeah. That's such good advice. I like that 5 minute rule. It,
The reason I
it,
say most of my clients probably don't follow that is probably because they move for 5 minutes and they're like, I can keep going.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
most of the time that will be what happens is you'll start moving, you'll be like, okay, I can keep moving. Um,
Hmm.
but if there is a time where like you start moving, you're like, I feel horrible, then just you tried.
Yeah.
Good.
And that one day, if that happens and you stop after 5 minutes because you feel absolutely terrible, does that unravel all of your effort?
No. And it actually supports your effort because it means you were still consistent. You still did something when you were
Hmm.
trying to do something. Um, I remember I was working with a client one time where she had a workout scheduled and she felt totally fine, but then she got stuck in like a traffic jam for like 3 hours. And she was like, I could go home and do my workout, but I really don't want to. And I was like, just do a few stretches so you can like stick with the consistency. Like I did
Hmm.
something, check. Like I still did something when I said I would do something, even though it wasn't the right thing or the thing I was supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
that's a mindset thing,
Hmm.
right? Because I mean, your body is capable of so much more
Hmm.
sometimes than your mind is. Your mind gives up first in a lot of instances. So that
Yeah.
reframe is
Yeah.
helpful.
And like obviously saying that, keeping in mind, yeah, your mind will probably give up before your body. So if you find you're doing that 5 minute test and you're always like, oh, I tried. Oh, I tried. I'm done. Like, be honest with yourself. You
Hmm.
probably most of the time can keep going and just don't want to. And that's also like, I know this wasn't a question, but like the idea of motivation and people being like, oh, I'm not motivated to work out. If you have hormonal imbalances, if you have anxiety, you're not going to feel motivated to
Hmm.
work out. You just won't. So stop waiting for it.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, moving and getting consistent with movement is what'll help you start feeling more motivated. So a lot of times we wait for motivation, but the motivation comes from the action. So,
Yeah. And you can exercise when you're not feeling motivated.
yeah. And
You can do that.
also the note of not every workout needs to be a really good workout.
Yeah.
You can half-ass a workout.
Yes. Yeah.
No one's
Yeah.
gonna be mad at you for doing
No.
that. It's like we talked about right at the beginning, like the consistency is what matters. So if you're like, okay, I'll get myself to do something and you're like in your pajamas and like kind of trying, I still count that as a win.
Love it. I love that.
Yeah.
We're not trying to be perfect here.
Yeah. Hmm.
So perfect. Oh, I love that. That's such great advice. Okay. Question number four. This kind of goes back to the bodybuilding situation we were talking about before. I'm afraid of getting bulky if I lift weights. How do I avoid looking like a man?
Okay, yeah. There's a really simple answer to this, and it's that it's incredibly difficult to get bulky. Like, it is very hard to get big. You would be having to eat a lot of protein, lifting the
Mhm.
heaviest of weights, following a really strict schedule. Like, those people, those men and those women who are like jacked, work hard.
Yes.
You would have to do so much to get bulky. And I always like to give myself as an example because I am aware that I am a small female. I am like 5'1". And I used to lift very, very heavy. I don't go to the gym anymore because who has time for that? But I used to like leg press like 350 pounds. My legs were still not big.
Yeah.
I used to lift heavy and I never got big. It's going to be very difficult for, oh, I assume this is a female that asked this question.
Probably.
Also, it's tough for men to get big. It's tough to
Oh
get big
yeah.
as a whole. It's easier for men to build bigger muscles because of their hormones and their
Mhm.
like body makeup. But it's very difficult to get bulky. So I know that's a fear a lot of people have, but oftentimes lifting weights and lifting some heavier weights will really just give you like more lean muscle, which means you're not going to get huge. You're going to look toned. I know not everyone loves that word, and it's not like, but it's a good way to explain it.
Oh
You'll
yeah.
look more toned, you won't get super bulky. So it's really hard to get big. You would have to do a lot. So I wouldn't let that be a fear of yours.
Yeah. I
Just
hear
lift
that.
weights.
I hear that a lot about eating protein too. Oh, I don't want to eat too much protein because I don't want to get bulky.
It's
It,
hard. Okay, like you worked with bodybuilders, so I'd
yeah.
be curious actually what their nutrition was, but it's a lot. And it's actually a lot of food. Like it's not even just a lot of protein. You need to eat a lot of food to get big.
Yes.
Like you can eat your body weight in protein and not get big unless you're also eating your body weight again in protein and also more food. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. And it
Yeah.
requires, as I said before, a lot of what you see online is stuff that bodybuilders did. So they're like, yeah, I was at the gym lifting for 90 minutes. You're not going to lift for 90 minutes. If you are doing that, stop. Like it's not needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a waste of time. Not a waste of time, but kind of a waste of time. Like, don't do that. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
you would be having to train in a really specific way and eat in a really specific way and live your life in a really specific way to get bulky. So it's not going to happen. So I would abandon that fear.
Yeah. And that's the same thing like with protein. I mean, some of the bodybuilders, they'll eat 3,000 calories a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is so much food that it's like some of them are having to like basically have 3 protein shakes a day, just plus eating meat at every single meal. And it's like, holy cow, 3,000 calories is a lot compared to, the 1,800 to 2,000 that most women
Yeah.
need. I mean, there's obvious variations with that, but I mean, you're not going to get bulky unless you're specifically eating and training that way. So I think it's a fear, but because we don't, we picture those
Yeah.
stereotypical bodybuilders.
And also, I guess, like, as a side note of something that just popped into my head, like, exercising with proper form will also help you build muscle in the way that you want. Um, I know that a lot of like women are scared of like building like this
Oh,
muscle
yeah.
here and like
Yeah.
looking really jacked right here. If you're constantly tense when you're trying to exercise, you may build
Mm-hmm.
this muscle here. So
Mm-hmm.
exercising with proper form will also make sure you're building the right muscle that you want to build, but also it still won't get big. Like that message still
Yeah.
stands. Like you won't get big unless you're really trying to get big.
Yes. Yes. And you're going to
And
know
yeah.
because you're training that way.
It'll
So,
be so obvious. You'll feel like you're doing a lot. You'll feel like you're eating a lot. So, um, going and grabbing like, a big dumbbell is not just instantly going to make you bulky.
yeah.
It just won't happen.
Yeah.
And trust me, a lot of people want that to happen and
Right.
not able to make that happen. So the fact that it's so hard for people to achieve that means it's not magically going to be easy for you unless you're like a one in a zillion person, like, which we're all special, but I don't think anyone is probably that
Yeah.
special. To like be the one person in the world who can
Right.
magically get big without trying.
Yeah.
Um, it takes high effort.
Yeah.
So,
You don't just wake up one morning and you're like, oh, look at me. I can go be in a bodybuilding competition today. Like
and
there's
and
a
lifting
theme.
weights and having muscle like usually makes women look more lean.
Yes.
So, like strength training will the more muscle you have, it's easier for you to burn body fat. So that's one
Hmm.
thing to keep in mind. Like it's good to have muscle. And as we age, our muscle mass declines. So you want to be actively preventing that so that you don't. I think the words I hear most women saying, like, you don't want to look flabby, you don't want to XYZ.
Yes.
That can happen if you don't lift weights and if you don't train your body. Um, the very opposite swing is not going to happen. The bulkiness won't happen. You'll probably end up looking more lean.
Hmm.
Um, and that's that.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Simple, Simple answer,
Yeah.
no, basically, no, you won't look bulky unless you try really,
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just lifting a heavy weight is not you trying,
no, no.
respectfully. It
Yeah,
won't make you.
I wish it was that easy, right? Then we'd all look, amazing and whatever, but it takes effort. So, yeah, we can still look human and
For sure.
do the things. Okay, perfect answer. Okay, last question that I have that was submitted, and we kind of talked about this, so you can kind of recap what you already said or expand on this a little bit, however you want to take it. Should my exercise change with my cycle? It's so hard to exercise when I have my period.
Okay. I like this question because cycle syncing your workouts is actually a really popular thing on lawn right now. It's like
Hmm.
a lot of people are talking about this, and I stand firmly in the middle of both sides. Like, you only need to be cycle syncing your workouts if you're feeling really bad. Like, a lot of people will think, oh, I need to adjust my workouts, like, with all of the phases of my cycle because that is what the internet says. But if you're feeling fine, you can continue your normal workout routine. But this question specifically says you feel bad
Yeah,
during your period, which to me probably says you're feeling low energy and maybe some pain. That's what I'm guessing because that
I
is
would
what
assume.
usually happens in the
Yeah.
bleeding phase of most people's cycles. And if that is the case with you, again, as you said, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before, where you check in with yourself every day. And if you wake up and you're bleeding, and you're like, I feel really tired and I don't feel good, then you can and should change your workout. Because if you're not, again, I said this before, but if you're not feeling good and you push through a workout just because you think you need to, that's going to stress out your body more. And then the workout is almost hurting you more than it is helping you. So it's more beneficial for you to switch up your workouts during your period if you feel like you need to. And again, not all women will feel like they need to. You may be like, I can do my normal workout routine. I don't feel any different. Like, I don't feel a drastic energy slump or I don't feel that bad. And it may be different even month to month, like every period may be different for you. But if you are feeling really low energy, then do something that supports that. So you could do like some yoga, some lighter, slower Pilates. You could do strength training still, but lower the weight you're using and move a bit slower. Or you could just do some deep stretching. So you could really change your workouts, and I would change it in that way. You could go for a walk. So you could walk, do yoga, some Pilates, some light and slow strength training. You can absolutely change it. And I know because this is a conversation I've had with people before where they have bad periods and they're like, well, isn't changing my workouts for like 5 days gonna stunt my progress? Like, they think that they're like, well, this is coming every month. I feel bad every month. So is having a light week every month gonna make my progress slower? But to that I say no, because like I said, if you're pushing through and you feel really bad, you're upsetting your nervous system, you're upsetting your hormones, and then those things can actually prevent you from reaching your goals. So if you honor what your body is asking for, that's going to be more beneficial. So I would say if it's really hard for you to move during your period, think about going for walks, think about doing some yoga, think about doing Pilates, or if that's too intense, then don't do that. Like, find your line of where things feel intense. But yeah, just going for walks or stretching is also totally acceptable on those days. I would encourage you to stay consistent. I would say do something. Don't abandon movement that week because you'll probably feel worse if you do that. So still move, um, but move in a light way. Um, but that goes in with like checking in with your body because there are also different parts of your cycle where you may not feel the best. Like, again, this is where I firm Stanley in the middle. All right, stand firmly in the middle because I will see some people like post online, oh, you got a cycle sync. And it's like,
Mhm.
for these 7 days, you're going to feel so high energy. All you're going to want to do is like heavy weightlifting and cardio. And on these days, you're going to want to do like a spin class and like go for a hike and then like lift weights. Like, and I'm like, women are more unique than this. I think we can't just
Yeah.
have firm rules of that. but it's honoring your body and then checking in with where do I feel at this stage in my cycle? How do I feel today? And then adjusting for that. But as a general rule of how your body feels, like the bleeding phase, it's more common to feel low energy and to feel some pain. So maybe you want to do something that's lower energy and supports that. But I would stay consistent. I will stand firmly on that. Don't just take the week off because you feel like crap. Stretch at least.
Mhm. So the theme for today is stay consistent and listen to your body.
Exactly. No notes, just that.
Just those
Um,
two things.
and that's where also like keeping a little journal can be helpful. One, so that you know where you're at in your cycle and you're not like way surprised and you're like, why do I feel really tired today? And it's like 2 days before your period is supposed to
Hmm.
start, like you can see why it's happening. Um, but it can be helpful to journal those things because then you can also see like, is it really even necessary for me to follow like a strict cycle syncing workout schedule? Because again, it's really popular online right now. I see it a lot. And I'm like, not everyone needs to do this.
Yeah.
But it's really helpful for the people who do need to do it.
Hmm.
But allow yourself to do something less if you feel you need less. And if it's hard for whoever asked this to exercise on your period, like you said, then stretch or walk, um, or do some yoga that week.
That makes sense. Total sense. You're so wise, Molly. I love it. Making this complicated fitness topic, right? Just you're making it very simple and very doable for people. So I love that. And I appreciate you for taking the time to talk to us about all of that, being consistent and listening to our bodies and all the other gems you
Yes.
shared.
Those are the
So
main takeaways, though, for sure. That was
yeah.
the common through line.
I swear, I was messaging with some random person on LinkedIn one time, and he posted something about like if we would just go back to doing the basics with our health, everyone would feel so much better. And I commented on it, and then we were started messaging. He's like, if I could write a book that was just do the basics,
Uh,
I would be a billionaire, but it would
yeah,
never happen because no one's going to pay for that
yeah.
because we
It's
want the
not the
shiny.
flashy or the sexy thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I, like in fitness, it's the most annoying thing because what catches your eye is get abs in 20 days.
Yeah.
Like you see like the flashy things and you're like, well, that's what I want. So yeah, I want that. But it really
Hmm.
like trying to rush the process can make the process harder and it can really screw with your nervous system and your gut and your hormones and all of those things. So it really is the basics are the important thing. And it does come down to honoring your body and your stress and being consistent even when you don't want to be.
Yeah. That's perfect. Okay. Those are all of the questions I have. Is there anything else you want to tell everyone about?
I hope those answers were helpful for you. And if I do offer your community access to my on-demand library, so if anyone is like looking for workouts that are good for certain phases of your cycle or good for your feeling low on energy or also good for when you're high on energy, there's are both things available in my workout library. I would be happy to give that to your clients so they can have access to those workouts that are more supportive for those times where they need to listen to their body and they want to learn how to listen to their body. So I guess, yeah, I would close on that. Like, if someone does want support with finding those workouts and figuring out what workouts to do, that's what I do. That's what my website is all about. So I would be happy to help anyone on that.
Perfect. Where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, so my website is a good place because it's just my name, and my name has probably been on the screen the whole time. So
Yep.
just mollymcnamee.com is a good one. You can go there. And also Instagram is probably the good second place to go, which is under my business name actually, which is MFit, M like Molly, fit like fitness, period, workouts. Um, So
And I'll include all that too in the email with the replay.
perfect. Yeah. And if you have follow-up questions to any of this, you can just reach out. And I'd be happy to talk to anyone who needs that extra support.
Love that. Yeah, and Molly has different like support levels and different options available. So depending on what you're looking for, this is Molly's your girl. She has something for you
Yeah.
if you're at all struggling with your workouts, or even if you're not and just want to try something new and just really connect with Molly. Like she's amazing. Her workouts are amazing. So
Thank you.
there's something for everyone in there.
Yeah.
So
And I do free consultations. Like you'll see a link to that on my website. So if you are like, I think I need support, but I have no idea how, then that's when it's really good to book like a little call and we can see what makes sense for you.
perfect. Yeah. And Molly graciously offered to give my one-on-one coaching clients as well that are working with me. She's giving them 30 days of free workouts. So the free on-demand access, which is amazing. So that's just another bonus. If you're considering coaching with me, you get a little bit of Molly in there too.
Yes.
So
It's the best of both
it
worlds.
is, it is. And we're going to be doing more of these Q&As as well. So you'll see Molly. We like to collab. We like to get on the calls and talk and
Yeah.
it's always fun to see what's going on to bring our communities together. So,
Yeah.
all right. I think I'm at the end of my rambling. So,
All right.
anything else you want to share?
Nope, that's good.
All good?
Visit my website. If you're working with her, sign up for that free trial. Because yeah, it'll just give you access to those workouts when you're like, what should I do? The world is telling me I need to do a lot, but Molly just told me I don't need to do a lot. And then you can go to my website and figure out what you really should be doing.
Perfect. Yes. Molly will help clarify it all for us so we know what we're doing. I
hmm
love it. All right, then let's wrap it up for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us, you guys. Thank you, Molly, for popping in here. It's always so much fun to talk with you. And just, again, we're so appreciative of you sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you
And
for having
yeah,
me.
absolutely. Absolutely. We'll do this again soon. And I'll send out more communication with that when we have another one coming up. All right, you guys, have a wonderful evening and take care.